Now look, I know I said a long time ago that we were going to cover the Pokemon anime in order in this series, but Pokemon the movie Secrets of the Jungle just dropped on Netflix, and my word, it has a lot of WTF moments in it. So I couldn't just avoid it, I had to talk about it right now, right here today, because my word, what a movie. And that's not me being kind, that's me saying, wow, this really is if Pokemon made Tarzan, and it's exactly what I expected it to be. Make of that what you will. But yes, if you're new here, my name is Ace Trainer Liam. I love Pokemon. I love the Pokemon anime, but that does not mean the Pokemon anime is immune to criticism. So we're going to go through all the WTF moments for Pokemon the movie, Secrets of the Jungle. Enjoy. The movie opens with tribal drums, and upon hearing it, I can't be the only person who thought, give me a second, I need to get my story straight. Not gonna lie, the moment the Zarude started talking perfect English, I was well and truly ready to give up on this movie. After all, the Pokemon movies often have this lame trope of at least one Pokemon that isn't Meowth needing to speak perfect English, as if we couldn't understand the plot without it. I'm looking at you, Scooby Lucario. But luckily, as we learn a little bit later, this is just so that the viewers can understand Pokemon language when Pokemon are talking to other Pokemon, whereas human characters will just hear them as if they were doing their regular Pokemon cries, so I'll give them a pass on this. That's right, you can delete your comment. Look, I don't know why more people aren't bothered by this, because what kind of irresponsible, deadbeat parents put a necklace on a baby? That, mate, is a massive choking hazard.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find the ring on that necklace is quite important later in the movie.
I don't care, we'll talk about that ring in a bit, and I still think it's completely pointless. Hang on, this baby could barely even stand up for a few seconds moments ago. How the hell did it teach itself to walk, and not only that, but walk fast enough to catch up to Zarude and climb up on its head? Tell me this is a Japanese cartoon without telling me this is a Japanese cartoon. You may now cross giant monkey nose deep in a baby's arsehole off your things I didn't need to see this year bingo. To make life easier for the viewers, the animators have created variations in the looks of all the different Zarudes, so we can tell them apart. Including this guy, who from now on we'll refer to as Bakugo Zarude, and this guy, who we'll call Naked Zarude. For your own safety, don't look directly at him, and nobody tell DeviantArt about him either. Oh look, a grass-type monkey Pokemon holding a stick. Turns out the Elder Zarude is desperate to live a simpler life as a Grookey. Oh, and Pokemon, give us Elder Zarude as an alternate form in game, please. One of the Zarudes sniffs the baby and recoils in horror, claiming it smells like a Stunky's rear end. Oh mate, that's grim. He's just carrying around the baby that rendered him unconscious with the smell of its shitty arse. And he hasn't even had the decency to like clean it off in a river or something. Zarude is literally carrying around a bag of shit. Just like your dad does on a Friday night when your mum's plastered. Way! One of the Zarude explains that if they allow this human baby to stay in their territory, others will come, and letting in others will cause the Zarude to wither and vanish. Now I know this is meant to make their laws sound really sacred and important, but to me it just makes the Zarude seem really weak. Like they're really worried that if other creatures start living near them, they'll die out. What about Oddish or Cherubi? Are you threatened by those as well? The Zarude are pussy bitches. Pass it on. The main Zarude, hang on, this guy's in the whole movie. He's gonna need a name to make things easier. I'm not calling him Dada all the way through either. Okay, from now on, I'm gonna refer to the main Zarude as Big Z. Any objections? Well, by the time the video's up, it's too late, right? Big Z. Big Z says he understands the laws and will withdraw from the tribe to go and seek out the child's parents. This enrages Bakugo Zarude, who says that Big Z is a traitor and can't believe he ever trusted him. Bakugo Zarude, mate, you're making out like you two are really close, but you're really fucking mean to Big Z. All the time. Maybe have a long think about that. As the opening credits roll, we get a montage of Big Z raising the baby and trying to find its parents. And at one point, the baby pulls a whooper out of the water, and for some reason, Big Z is absolutely terrified of it. Mate, it's a whooper, and you're a grass type. You just need to look at that thing the wrong way and it'll die right in front of you. Thank you, Pokemon, for reminding me that I never ever want children. Ever. Watching the absolute torture Big Z goes through raising this thing brings me so much joy, knowing that my vasectomy vasectomy was the absolute best decision I've ever made. Hashtag have pets, not kids. I'm kidding, of course. If you want to have kids, have kids. It's your life. In what appears to be an abandoned laboratory, Big Z finds a picture of the baby being held by its parents. When he looks at the picture, he gets a mental image of the parents holding the baby, as well as a bunch of other scientists going about their work. Mate, for a jungle-born creature that up to this point has never seen humans, he really does have a vivid imagination. He can picture all this from a photo of just 2 adults and a baby. In the next scene, the kid's aged about 9 years and is now fully adept at navigating trees and swinging on vines and stuff. Oh. So we don't get to see Big Z teach him this stuff? That's a shame. That could have added some decent comic relief. I guess that means this will be more of a traditional Tarzan ripoff rather than a George of the Jungle ripoff. That's lame. Bruh. In a nearby Pokemon Center, over the video phone, Ash's mum is badgering him about making sure he's got all the supplies he needs before venturing out into the jungle on his own. Ash tells her she worries too much, and she says that's what being a parent is all about. It's a bit late for that, love. You've already let your 10-year-old travel the world alone. Your Mother of the Year award has long since been revoked. We join the kid, now called Coco, and Big Z rushing through the forest to find some berries, only to find that the other Zarude have left their territory, ransacked the berry trees, and left nothing for anyone else. A bunch of local Pokemon are understandably angry, and Big Z doesn't want them to think that he had anything to do with it. So he roars at them all, scaring them away. Even scares the shit out of Stunky. Yeah, that'll do it, mate. Way to convince people that you're not the problem. Now, if you're not a problem, do me a favor and hit like on this video, share the video on social media, and leave a lovely comment down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave something generic, like,
wow, Pokemon really be like, should we just remake Tarzan?
Or comment the name of the secret Pokemon I've hidden somewhere in this video. And if you're new here, thank you so much for giving my channel a chance. Please hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying yourself so far. Turn on all notifications so you never miss an episode of Pokemon WTF Moments or anything on my channel. Coco has a brilliant idea. He and Big Z should grow their own berry trees, and then they'll always have berries to eat. It's been like 9 years and Big Z never thought of that? Clearly Big Z was never the brains of his tribe. Meanwhile, Ash and Pikachu watch on as a Cramorant dives underwater and comes back up with an Arrokuda in its mouth. We then get this direct quote from Ash.
Look, Pikachu, do you see that? I've never seen that move.
What? Dive? After Cramorant drops the Arrokuda, Pikachu uses Quick Attack but ends up stuck in Cramorant's beak. Ash then gets Pikachu to use Thunderbolt, which seemingly has no effect on the 4 times weak to electric Cramorant, who merely spits Pikachu out and flies away. Mate, that Cramorant's gotta be hacking. Thunderbolt should have murdered it. As Team Rocket watch on, James and Meowth are a little bit put off by the idea of being electrocuted from the inside. Why? Didn't you just see Cramorant completely unaffected by it? Ash then meets a woman called Sharon, who's working with a team of researchers who are collecting water samples to see what components it contains. Wow, Sharon, I don't think you could have made this research sound any less interesting. Can we have a Pokemon battle now, please? Ash responds,
components are so cool.
Now you may see this as just Ash being dumb, but I think he's also bored shitless by this and is just trying whatever he can to sound interested, just to be polite. James looks up some info on Sharon's company and it reads,
we at the Biotope Company use cutting-edge technology to discover and implement developments that lead to peace and harmony for both people and Pokemon.
Meowth then says,
sounds like the real deal.
Correction, it sounds like typical nonsensical corporate bollocks. You know, where they say so many words but somehow manage to say absolutely nothing? The only thing missing was the word synergy. Here's a question. When Big Z and the other Zarude and Coco communicate, we hear them speaking in English so that we can understand what's going on. When we hear Coco and Big Z talk to humans, it's just in Pokemon speak. But when Coco or Zarude speak to other Pokemon, we just hear the Pokemon talking in Pokemon speak, but Coco or Big Z still talking in English. Make your minds up, Pokemon. Do you want us to understand or not? After Coco lures an injured Flygon into the Zarude's healing spring, Bakugo Zarude turns up and basically tries to murder 10-year-old Coco just for entering their territory.
Child abuse, yeah. Child abuse, yeah.
Just as Coco is about to be absolutely done in by Bakugo Zarude, Big Z turns up and says,
I told you to stay away.
With the exact same energy as,
You agreed to stay away.
After realizing he is in fact not a Zarude, Coco throws a wobbly and goes swinging through the jungle. And then he ends up crashing into the side of a large pipe. Maybe this is knockoff George of the Jungle after all. George of the Jungle, watch out for that big gas industrial water pipe. Doesn't really flow as well, does it? dirt. Get it? Flow? How do the markings on Coco's skin work? It can't be like dirt or powder because it doesn't wash off when he falls into water. Are the pale bits maybe tan lines? Does Coco sunbathe with random leaves and things covering parts of his body to make those marks? Answers on a postcard. Fair play to Ash. He jumped into the river to save Coco within seconds of Coco hitting the water and had the strength to drag him all the way to safety. Ash Ketchum is hench. Pass it on. It's a good thing Jesse's Wobbuffet wears this disguise so that nobody can tell it is in fact a Wobbuffet. After waking up in the Pokemon Center, Coco freaks out and starts swinging around the place like a maniac. And even though there's literally a feral child going crazy in the lobby, none of the other characters other than Ash try and calm Coco down. Now you know a place is dodgy when the only responsible person there is a 10-year-old. Now here is the highlight of the movie. My boy, Big P, front and center getting the movie spotlight he so richly deserves. This easily bumps the movie's rating up from a 3 out of 10 to a 4 out of 10 for me. Well played, Pokemon. Well played. A car swerves after narrowly missing Coco and comes to a stop near a Dreadnought, who for some reason freaks out and runs away. Mate, who knew a Dreadnought could be such a pussy bitch? Coco manages to swing himself in front of Dreadnought and stop it in its tracks. Listen, I don't care how strong you are compared to the average human child your age, but being hit by that Dreadnought would be like being hit by a truck. Wait, how much does Dreadnought weigh? 245 pounds. Maybe it's not like being hit by a truck. I mean, still, it'd be like being hit by a dirt bike, and that'd still probably break both your arms. Also, on a positive note, I really appreciate that the Morpeko in the background of the scene gets so scared it switches to hangry mode. That's really nice attention to detail that they totally could have ignored and no one would have batted an eyelid. Oh look, this building has shiny Celebi drawn on it. That's a nice touch. Now, Coco freaking out at seeing a Bolton return to its Pokeball isn't a WTF moment. He's never seen a Pokeball in his entire life, so has no idea what this weird phenomenon happening in front of him is. What's weird is that his reaction to Ash showing him a Pokeball is to lick it. Like, if you're freaking out that you've just seen a living being seemingly sucked into this object, why would you then want to make contact with that object, let alone with your tongue?
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find that because of his upbringing, Coco thinks like a Pokemon, so he reacts the way an animal probably would.
Even for an animal, that's pretty stupid. Ash and Pikachu realize that Coco and Pikachu can understand each other, and Pikachu teaches Coco that his name is Pikachu and then refers to Ash in the usual way, as Pika-P. After Coco repeats both names back to Ash and Pikachu, Ash tells Coco that's right, but then quickly corrects Coco, making sure that he calls him Ash. Apparently, Ash seems to resent Pikachu always calling him Pika-P. Who knew? I mean, if he didn't resent it, why would he make such a big point of, "Oi, don't you be calling me that shitty Pika-P name either. It's Ash, got it?"
This is the Pokemon Company International. This movie is not a Tarzan ripoff. Repeat, this movie is not a Tarzan ripoff. Any similarities to the Tarzan story or various movie adaptations is purely coincidental. We did not just decide to make our own version of Tarzan. Honest.
Man, it must suck to be a Rillaboom, always being typecast as the drummer. What if a Rillaboom wants to do something different, like ballet? I tell you what, if you're an artist and you're watching, tweet me your pictures of Rillaboom trying out different career paths. Ballerina, accountant, plumber, detective, you choose. I'll retweet the best ones. One thing I just noticed whilst I was editing this video, which is why I'm in different clothes right now, because this isn't the same day I originally recorded the video, is that the singer of this band is the Jigglypuff that follows Ash and friends around in the anime. And that in itself is a really cool Easter egg, but also raises one really important question. Why aren't all these people in Pokemon asleep right now? Everything we know about this specific Jigglypuff tells us that whenever it sings, especially over a PA system, everybody around falls asleep. So why is everybody just awake and being like, "Yay, Jigglypuff, what a great singer, yay!" Pokemon, make your shit make sense. Hey look, an actual Pokemon battle is happening, and we're only 28 minutes in. And look, there's my boy in the background. See, even he knows what we all want to see in our Pokemon movies. I will say though, fighting a Cinderace with a Ferrothorn, this guy's brave, or stupid. Oh look, it's Phil and Rita from New Pokemon Snap. That's a nifty little Easter egg. Well done to Sophie for spotting that one for me, because I completely missed it. There's a commotion because a group of Phalanx are preventing the evening's firework display from taking place, and no one can figure out why. I mean, can nobody count? There's 5 parts here. There's usually always 6. Plus, do they not realize that the 5 Phalanx that are here all look the same, meaning the most important one is missing? I think it's safe to say the people that can't figure this problem out probably shouldn't be allowed to operate fireworks. Coco climbs up one of the firework launchers? What do you call these? Silos? cannons? I don't know. I'm not a pyrotechnician. Anyway, Coco climbs up and finds the lead phalanx lying at the bottom. Is nobody going to question how it got there? I'd like to know. After Coco and everybody help free the phalanx, the main guy who was yelling at the phalanx apologizes and everybody's happy. Except me. I still want to know how it got in there. Some of those other people kept very quiet during all of this. I sense something more sinister's at play here. Well, it wouldn't be a Pokemon movie, would it, without the generic I own this Pokemon, therefore I must base my entire wardrobe around it character. Seriously though, can you tell this guy's a Dubwool trainer? God, he's even got the same beard. That's dedication. I think that's on par with my dedication to saving you guys money on G Fuel. That's right, Maiden's Blood is back in stock in the extra tall Lady Dimitrescu tub, which has 60 servings rather than 40. It is 47% taller for the big lady. For those wondering about the flavor, it's watermelon, pear, and lychee, and it's absolutely bloody wonderful. Get yourself some Maiden's Blood, get yourself a whole heap of G Fuel. If you're new to G Fuel, get yourself a starter pack with a bunch of different flavors in and a lovely shaker to go with it. But use code ACE when you do, and you'll save 10% on your order. Oh, that is absolutely wonderful. Go and get yourself some G Fuel, use code ACE when you do to save yourself some money, 10% off, and of course it helps out the channel as well when you do, so thank you very much for that. Remember though, G Fuel is for over 18s only because it contains caffeine, and because it contains caffeine, just drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. The locals tell Ash about Celebi and how it's their jungle guardian, and Ash asks if he can see Celebi. The mayor says unfortunately it's been a long time since they last saw it, and at half an hour into the movie, I figured it would be a long time before any of us get to see Celebi, and if we do, it'll be for like a minute. And bloody hell, wouldn't you know it, I was right. The mayor explains that Celebi only shows itself during times of peace, and when it doesn't show itself, something bad must be going on. Wait, and you lot call this the Jungle Guardian? Some guardian, that is. It's said that when Celebi vanishes, an egg is left behind, which Celebi brought from the future. Wait, so Celebi effectively steals a baby from the future and abandons it in the present? That's not very protagonistic. Direct quote from Ash.
They really do look like a family.
Mate, they're literally arguing, and Coco's getting increasingly upset. What part of that says family to you? Well, maybe this is why Ash couldn't wait to leave home. Coco asks Big Z why he didn't tell Coco about humans. Big Z replies,
I didn't want to make you sad.
You have done. Big Z leads Ash and Coco to the abandoned laboratory and gives Coco the necklace he had as a baby and also the picture of his parents. Pikachu looks at the photo and says,
Pee-pee!
Pikachu mate, now's not the time to be perving on Coco's dad, you big creep. Now here's a scene people made way too big of a deal of. Ash says that seeing Big Z and Coco got him thinking about his own dad and how when kids made fun of his goals, his dad told him, and I quote,
The map to your goal is inside yourself. If you give up now, your dream will never come true.
Now personally, I don't get why that's such a big revelation.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find it such a big deal because up to this point we've heard so little about Ash's father.
Yeah, and we still haven't heard anything significant. You're really gonna sit there and tell me that Ash's father spoke to Ash at least once before he left on his Pokemon journey is some kind of massive breakthrough? Who are these people whose dad lives with them but doesn't speak to them at all? The Elder appears to Big Z and explains, without expressly saying, that Big Z came from the egg that was left behind when Celebi last vanished, which most of us had figured out by this point. He then says the answers to Big Z's destiny is known only by the life-giving waters. I hate to break it to you, mate, but water actually can't know anything. It's water. You're talking bollocks, lad. Cool, they didn't half make an effort to make the trees look lovely in this movie, didn't they? After all, that's what's most important in Pokemon, isn't it? Direct quote from James.
Pokemon food gives me gas.
James, mate, when were you eating Pokemon food? Better yet, why were you eating Pokemon food? It's revealed by Zed, the totally definitely not evil and couldn't possibly be the antagonist head of the facility, that Coco's real name is Al, and that the people in the photo were Mr. and Mrs. Molybdenum. Al Molybdenum. Is that meant to be like a play on words? Like alloy of molybdenum or something? I'm sure it's probably really clever. If there are any scientists watching, let me know in the comments why you think they chose to name Coco Al Molybdenum, because I've got no idea. It turns out Coco's pendant contains a biometric ID, so they can identify that he is indeed Al Molybdenum. What a flimsy way to ID a kid that's been missing for 9 years. Wouldn't a blood test have been better? I'm sure with the Pokemon World's tech, they could have done one in seconds. Imagine if Coco would have given that necklace to a beloved friend friend? Would everyone just believe that he turned into a Pokemon?
Well, this squabbit's wearing a necklace, so this must be Al.
Ash has to explain to Coco that his parents died several years ago, and it's not a WTF moment, it's just a really uncomfortable one. I guess on the plus side, he didn't really know his parents, so it's not like he was as attached as if he'd known them. Does that make it any better? I'm not sure it does. We learn that Coco's pendant also contains a backup of the molybdenum's lost research, which does give it a little bit more importance. But saying that, that data could have easily been hidden away somewhere at the abandoned laboratory, like under some tiles or hidden in a wall or something, so we didn't really need all this pendant bollocks. So I stand by my previous opinion. It is very dangerous to put a necklace on a baby, especially an unsupervised one if you know you're about to die. Doesn't matter how important the pendant is, it's just bad parenting. Direct quote from Ash.
No matter which way we go, all I see is trees.
Sounds like navigating Twitter in mid-2019. Oh look, the definitely not antagonisty looking bloke put a tracker on Coco to lead him to the healing spring because he is in fact the antagonist. How incredibly surprising. Seriously though, if you didn't suspect Zed from the first moment he appeared on screen, you're banned from watching movies ever again. What can I tell you? I don't make the rules. I know using 3D animation in cartoon movies is a very normal and common thing, but every scene that this mech is in, it just looks impossibly out of place. Now that could just be me, but it's so jarring how poorly it fits in with the rest of the animation. Why is Drillbur running away on land? You're a mole! Dig, you prick! Direct quote from Zed.
Forgive us, but we decided to use you.
Honestly, what an amazing line. As if Coco's gonna turn around and go,
Oh, you decided to use us? Oh, that's fine then. I forgive you.
based Zed is best Zed. Wait, did I just use based right? There's hope for me yet. Direct quote from Ash.
Who are you doing?
I guess he couldn't decide between who do you think you are and what are you doing? Ash, mate, I know a lot of crazy stuff's happening right now, but you've got to calm yourself down, lad. You're not making any sense. And also, yes, I went back and rewatched that exact line at full volume with headphones on about 20 to 30 times. He definitely says, "Who do you doing?" Another direct quote from Ash.
Pikachu, your tail. If I can bite through it.
Ash, what has happened to you, mate? Everyone's got their kinks, I suppose. It's not really the time for it though. After Team Rocket free Ash and Coco as part of their plan to get their key back from Cramorant, Pikachu uses Thunderbolt from inside Cramorant's beak again, and lo and behold, Cramorant gives up the key, but is also completely fried by it. Just like it should have been when the same thing happened earlier. Oh, well, I guess it wasn't completely KO'd. So Cramorant is still a hacker. Confirmed. Coco runs back to the healing spring where Big Z and Bakugo Zarude are fighting against the big mech, but takes off all his human clothes whilst he's running. Now I get that this is probably supposed to be symbolic or some bollocks like that, but to me it's just really weird that this kid's just whipping off his keks as he runs. Surely it would just be faster to run and worry about your outfit later. Like, none of these clothes have hindered your movement through the jungle up to this point, so what's the issue? Mate, Zed's shitty little hover bike gets completely totaled by Coco pulling the back up with a vine and tipping it over. So much for high tech, that thing was garbage. In this scene, one of Zed's eyes disappears for no reason. I did think for a moment maybe his glasses were just broken or something, but in the next shot we see of his face, his eye has made a triumphant return. Dr. Zed tells the guy controlling the mech to shoot the anchor into the tree where the source of the healing spring is. But there are no ropes connected to these projectiles, so I wouldn't really call them anchors. And they explode on impact. Mate, I think you'll find they're missiles. In another flashback of the injured Rufflet situation, Big Z is surprised that Braviary attacked him, even after seeing he was a Zarude. Wait, you're surprised that a flying type Pokemon with super effective same type attack bonus flying type moves attacked a Pokemon that is weak to flying type moves? Pull the other one, mate, it's got bells on. In the least surprising twist of the century, we learn that Zed running their Jeep off the road is the reason that Coco's parents are dead. However, as predictable as this was from the moment Zed told us they were dead, I have to give this scene lots of praise because Zed's voice acting in this flashback is absolutely incredible. If you watch one scene from this movie, go and watch that. It's the absolute highlight of the film, after Poliwhirl's appearances. Wait a minute, what's that? Sunshine form Cherim? In the rain? Look at its face. Even Cherim knows something's not right. Big Z begs the other Pokemon to help the Zarude fight the humans, claiming without them, the Zarude aren't strong enough to defeat them. Mate, how weak are the Zarude if 20 or more of them can't beat one mech? And are a Caterpie, a Fungus, and a few Combi really going to be that much help? Oh god, the mech just looks so bad. It's really noticeable here. Big Z uses the power of some weird grass energy to hold back fire. It's about now where I started to realize we could be getting a really intense Pokemon battle, but instead we're getting Pokemon versus the big, seemingly indestructible mech, which is far less interesting. After Big Z saves Coco from the mech, breaking part of it off whilst taking a fatal hit, the Elder tells Coco to take Big Z to the healing spring, at which point Ash steps in and says Zed's gonna have to face them now. Wait, so you've just been watching this whole time? Ash, mate, you should have gotten involved ages ago. Standing back and watching everyone else struggle? That's not very protagonistic. Now, I'll preface this by saying I know that my opinion is the unpopular one here, but everybody's been raving about this scene and how it's so emotional and how it makes everybody cry. Let me make one thing clear. I'm a crier. I cry at everything. I cry at Simba trying to wake Mufasa in The Lion King. I cry at Pikachu trying to wake Ash in the first Pokemon movie. Hell, I cry every time I watch Chandler propose to Monica in Friends. But this? Nothing. Not a single tear. Like at this point, anybody who's been paying attention knows that Big Z is the Pokemon from the egg that Celebi left behind. And we can just tell by the way the movie's been going that this death isn't going to be permanent, because he's clearly meant to do something more. So because we know that Coco isn't really going to be without his dada for more than a few moments, it really doesn't seem that bad to me. Like, well done to Coco's voice actor for that blood-curdling scream, but this scene just isn't that sad. Yeah, no, bollocks to this. At this point, I'm out. Coco, a human child born of human parents who just happen to be raised by a Zarude, can use jungle healing. Not only that, but instead of just healing an injured Pokemon, he's literally bringing Big Z back from the dead. Say it with me. Bollocks! This guy chimes in to tell us that the control system for the mech is on its back, so if someone hits that, it'll stop the mech. Mate, how did you only just remember that? You're the guy who, up until a few moments ago, was in charge of controlling this thing. You'd have thought you'd be the most clued up on it. It's almost like we've gotten 80-ish minutes into a 90-ish minute movie and the writers have suddenly thought,
oh yikes, we need to end this pretty soon.
Pikachu explains the situation to Bakugo Zarude, who tells Ash and Pikachu to follow him, when Ash suddenly says,
"You're gonna help us out?"
Ash, mate, he's already been helping you out. Didn't you see him fighting against the mech for the past god knows how long? Use your noodle. Mate, I can't believe how much effort it takes for them to set up Pikachu using Iron Tail on the back of the mech. Like, don't get me wrong, the animation is stunning, but how hard would it have been for a bunch of Zarude and other Pokemon to attack the mech from the front while Pikachu sneaks up behind it and then uses Iron Tail at the back? This could have been over with way quicker. So Coco and Zed have a bit of a scrap, and then Zed suddenly leaps over the edge, seemingly about to land in some very rough looking water. But then when Coco stops him by lassoing him with a vine, he tells Coco that he's not going to let it end here. Not being funny, mate, but when you jumped over the cliff edge, I genuinely thought you were trying to end it. Like, what would your end goal have been there? Grit your teeth and hope you only break 205 bones on the way downstream? So the next day, everybody's working together to replant trees and basically tidy up all the mess. And somehow the completely totaled mech is now in fully working order again. Mate, say what you want about this research team, but their maintenance guy puts in work. Coco tells Big Z he wants to go out on a journey to bring people and Pokemon together. And as they started having a big argument about it, I couldn't help but think, Christ, I thought this movie was supposed to be ending soon, but it feels like it's literally about to start all over again. Seriously, it feels like we're in overtime at this point. Oh look, it was all a big ruse. Big Z was just giving Coco the push he needed to make sure he was serious about leaving. And he even packed some of the berries from the trees they grew together to show that he cares. Aw, isn't that sweet? No. It's not. Here's some life advice for everyone watching. If you want to do something good for someone but you want it to be a surprise, don't try and throw them off the scent by fabricating an argument. That's just a proper dick move. As Coco gets ready to part ways with Ash, Ash says,
"Hey, I know we'll see you again."
Ash, mate, it's been like 24 years. When are you gonna stop telling this blatant lie to people? Direct quote from Coco's inner monologue.
"I'm a human and a Pokemon, and I'm my dada's son."
I mean, let's be real, only one of those things is true.
This message was brought to you by the Fun Police.
I really love the fact that Team Rocket turned down the chance to steal Pikachu because they've just become so invested in leaking Dr. Zed's hidden crimes. I mean, to be fair, they did go to a lot of trouble to try and uncover them. Oh, look who it is. Nice of you to show up, mate. Seriously though, all the talk of there being a shiny Celebi in this movie, and it literally turns up for the final minute of the movie and just flies around a bit. Tell me you were worried that Zarude wouldn't sell enough merch on its own without telling me you were worried that Zarude wouldn't sell enough merch on its own. So those are my WTF moments for Pokemon the Movie Secrets of the Jungle. Let me know your favorites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe with all notifications on. Head to twitch.tv/AceTrainerLiam for all of my live streams, and of course use code ACE for money off G Fuel. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.